I'm Larry Springer, State Representative from the 45th Legislative District. This is my last opportunity to contact you before our session starts again next January. We've had a rather historic several sessions over the last few years. The recession has been very tough on the state of Washington. We've had to make some very difficult decisions, not the least of which is the fact that we have had to cut $10 billion out of the state's budget. No state legislature in the history of the state of Washington has had to balance that kind of budget deficit and to do it without a general tax increase. We have reduced spending in the state back to levels we have not seen since 1985. We've laid off 10% of our workforce. 6,000 state workers have been laid off. But there are a couple of things that you will not see in this next budget. One, you're not going to see any further cuts to K-12 education, the first time we've been able to do that in 2 years. You will not see any further cuts to higher education, also the first time we've been able to do that in 2 or 3 years. And you will see the fact that we were able to maintain a safety net for the most vulnerable of Washington's citizens. So in many regards, it was a successful session. The fact that the session is over doesn't mean we've stopped working. All of us are back in our district offices. You'll be able to find that information at the bottom of the screen. And we are working with constituents and stakeholders working on legislation for next session. The other thing I wanted to touch on is a few bills that will be going into effect because our new fiscal year starts on July 1. I sponsored legislation that will reduce the administrative burden on our colleges and universities, saving them close to $1 million a year. I also sponsored legislation that allows cities and counties more flexibility in how they use their revenue that they derive from real estate excise taxes. They basically can use it for operating and maintenance of parks rather than just buying parks. I also voted for one of the toughest balanced budget amendments anywhere in the nation. And I worked very hard on the passage of historic reforms to our unemployment insurance system and our workers' compensation system. All of that, coupled with the fact that the state's beginning to show signs of climbing out of the recession, I think is what's prompted an organization like the United States Chamber of Commerce to list Washington State as one of the top 10 job-producing states in the nation, poised for the next boom. It is largely an effort on the part of both the legislature and the vagaries of the recession, to be sure, but we are in a position now to emerge as a state that we want to live in when Washington recovers. So again, thanks for listening. Thanks for staying in touch. Make sure you contact us during the interim. My contact information is at the bottom of the screen. I'll talk to you again in January.